Good morning. We are now in the last part of quarter 3, which is week 7. Our objectives for today are: first, define point estimate and interval estimate. Second, compute the interval estimate of population mean when the population standard deviation is A, known, B, unknown. And lastly, compute the sample size using the length of interval. So, the content of week 7 is all about interval estimate of population mean. So, before we go to that, let us first define estimate. So, an estimate is an approximate calculation of a certain value. So, you don't just simply guess a value to estimate. For example, we want to express our answer to the nearest hundredths, right? So, hindi naman natin siya huhulaan lang. Aalamin muna natin kung ano yung thousands, ano yung digit ng thousands niya, thousands place. And then, dun tayo magde-decide na kung round up ba siya or magsastay lang sa number na yun. That is estimate or estimation. So, there are two types of estimate. First one is the point estimate, which is yung alam natin na estimation or yung familiar na pag-estimate sa atin. So, the point estimate is expressed as a single value, gaya nung sinabi ko kanina. Second one is the interval estimate. So, interval estimate is expressed as a range of values. So, to clarify what an interval estimate means, let me give you examples. So, the first one is, a local health officer in Pampanga states that the average age of COVID-19 patients is between 30 to 55 years, based on 120 patients from different hospitals. So, sabi dito, average age of COVID patients is between 30 to 55 years based sa 120 patients sa iba't ibang hospital. So, inestimate niya lang yung age ng mga COVID patients, ng 120 COVID patients sa iba't ibang hospital na nagre-range sila sa 30 to 55. More or less, more or less, yung 120 patients sa iba't ibang hospital na yon is nasa range na 30 to 55. So, pwede ba siyang bumaba sa 30? May mga patients ba na pwedeng mas mababa sa 30? Yes. May mas mataas sa 55 years old? Yes. Pero, kaya doon yung interval estimate niya is that karamihan sa mga COVID-19 patients, sa 120 COVID-19 patients is naglalaro sa age na 30 to 55. So, kung may let's say 19 years old man, baka isa lang siya, ganun. So, mostly is nasa 30 to 55 years old sila. So, second one is the average performance bonus that the teacher received is in a year is 10 pesos, ay 10,000 to 15,000. So, ayun nga, yung average lang naman kasi ito average performance bonus daw na nakukuha ng mga teachers sa isang taon is naglalaro sa 10,000 to 15,000. Depende sa performance ng isang guro. Kung magaling yung guro, pwede siyang, kung maganda or magaling siyang magturo, pwede siyang pumunta or umabot ng 20,000, 18,000, lagpas 15,000. Ngayon, kung poor naman yung performance niya, pwedeng umabot lang ng 9,000 yung bonus niya. So, yung ibig sabihin ng interval estimate dito is nasa mostly ng mga teachers, yung performance bonus nila is nasa 10,000 to 15,000. So, last one is the average life of LED lights or light emitting diode that are made in the Philippines is 7 to 10 years. So, pansinin natin yung mga ilaw natin which are made in the Philippines. Sinasabi dito na yung average life nila is 7 to 10 years. May iba dyan, di ba? Minsan, bumibili tayo and 1 year lang or 3 buwan lang, di ba? Napupundi na. Pero, yung sinasabi dito sa interval estimate, yung average life nila, mostly, na mga LED lights made in the Philippines is tumatagal ng 7 to 10 years. Yun yung interval estimate. So let us define some words involving interval estimate. So first one is the interval estimate, or also known as the confidence interval. So it is a range of values that is used to estimate an unknown population mean. This estimate may contain the true value of the population mean. So nabigyan naman na ng example kanina yung interval estimate. Second one is the confidence level or degree of confidence. So the confidence level of an interval estimate is the probability that the interval estimate contains the unknown population mean. So in determining an interval estimate, a degree of confidence expressed as percentage must be set. So before we get the interval estimate down, we should first get the confidence level or the degree of confidence in percentage. So lastly is the margin of error. So margin of error is defined as the maximum likely difference between the observed sample mean and the true value of the population mean. So the length of the confidence interval is equal to twice the length of the margin error. So sabi dito na yung confidence level, 2 beses siya na mas malaki kesa sa or mas mahaba kesa sa margin of error. The length of the confidence interval is equal to twice the length of the margin of error. So, to understand it further, let's take a look at this figure. So sabi dito, the normal curve can be used as a tool to represent the interval estimate of population mean. So, this is the confidence interval, itong area na to, which is 1 minus alpha, which is the probability that interval contains the unknown population. So, we have the lower confidence limit and we have the upper confidence limit. Upper confidence limit kasi papunta siya sa positive and papunta naman sa negative is lower confidence limit. So, yung shaded portion na to is our margin of error. So, mu can be within the interval or can also be outside the interval or nasa margin of error siya. So, paano kapag nasa loob siya or within the interval siya? What does it mean? So, it means that your estimate is accurate. How about if our mu is outside the interval? Therefore, our estimate is not accurate. So, to have accurate and reliable estimate, the sample size should be large enough. So, how do we mean or how do we determine if our sample size is large enough? So, malalaman nyo yung kasagutan sa week 6. You need to watch the video. So, before we proceed to computing the confidence interval with known sigma, let us first memorize or know the formulas. So, first one is the margin of error represented by capital letter E. To compute for the margin of error, you have to multiply Z by the quotient of sigma and square root of n, where Z is the confidence coefficient or Z-score, sigma is the population standard deviation, and n here is the sample size. How about the lower confidence limit? To compute for that, we have to get the sample mean or average of sample values, the the x bar subtracted sa margin of error natin. How about the upper confidence limit? So, x bar plus margin of error. So, lower confidence limit, you subtract the sample mean or the average of sample values by margin of error. Upper confidence limit, you just add the sample mean and the margin of error. Confidence interval, para makuha natin yung confidence interval, get the lower confidence limit to upper confidence limit. So, we have pala here the confidence coefficient or z-score. So, 1.65 for 90% confidence level, 1.96 for 95% confidence level, and 2.58 for 99% confidence interval. So, these three are the commonly used confidence interval, kaya sila linagay. Usually, yung nilalagay nilang confidence level is the 90%, 95%, and 99%. So, let us now proceed in computing the confidence interval with known sigma. So, first, let us read the problem. So, to estimate the mean age of all grade 9 students, a teacher obtained a sample of 60 students. So, the average age of the selected students is 15.3 years. Assume that the population is normally distributed with a population standard deviation of 4 years. So, find the 99% confidence interval for the population mean, mu. So, first, let us identify the given para mapadali na lang yung pagsasolve ng margin of error, lower confidence limit, and upper confidence limit. So, given are, first is the mean, which is 15.3 years. That is the sample mean or average age of 60 students. Next is the sample size. We have sample size of 60 students. So, yun yung kabuang population natin, sample size. Next is the sigma or the population standard deviation of 4 years. Nakasulat naman dito. Population standard deviation of 4 years. So, sigma is 4 years. And lastly is the confidence limit, which is 99 or confidence interval or level, which is 99%. So, nandito naman, 99% confidence interval. So, first, sulat muna natin yung mga formula. Formula for margin of error is z multiplied by sigma all over square root of n. And, what we have to do is to substitute. We have 2.58, 99%, diba? 99% confidence level is equivalent to 2.58 sample or z-score. Kamukha nung sa last slide natin. So, we have sigma or standard deviation of 4 all over the square root of the sample size, which is 60. So, when you insert it in your calculator, you will get 1.33 years. Now that we know the margin of error, we're now ready to solve for the lower confidence limit and the upper confidence limit. So, substitute lang the x prime minus the margin of error. We have 15.3, which is the sample mean, minus the margin of error. We have 13.97 years. How about the upper confidence limit, UCL? So, palitan lang natin ng addition to. That is 15.3 plus 1.33 and our upper confidence limit is 16.63 years. Therefore, our confidence interval is between 13.97 to 16.63 years. Conclusion. The average age of grade 9 students is 13.97 to 16.63 years old. So, nakuha ba kung paano i-solve yung confidence interval? So, if you have question, feel free to message me. So, let us now go to example number 2. But this time around, we're going to determine naman the sample size. A while ago, we determined the confidence interval. Now, sample size naman yung nawawala. So, let's read the problem. In a certain barangay, the captain wants to estimate the mean weight in kilogram of all 6 years old children to be included in a feeding program. So, he wants to be 90% confident that the interval estimate is accurate to within 0.06 kilogram margin of error. Report from a previous study says that the population standard deviation is 0.5 kilogram. How many children should be or should the barangay captain choose as sample? So first, let us determine the given. So first one is the margin of error. Sabi dito, margin of error is 0.06 kilogram. Then the sigma or the population standard deviation is 0.5. Sabi dito, population standard deviation. So sigma is 0.5 kilogram. Next one is the confidence level of 90%. Ayun. And, ayan. So we have to find the sample size. So, this is the formula derived sa formula ng margin of error. So, paano ba natin nakuha to? Pakita ko muna sa inyo paano naging ganito yung formula natin. So, kinuha lang natin siya sa formula ng margin of error. Ito yun. So, yung formula natin na margin of error is E. So, the margin of error is equal to Z, which is the Z-score, multiplied by sigma, or the standard deviation of population, all over the square root of the sample size, which is N. So, kinukuha natin dito is N, right? So, meron tayong iba't ibang formula, di ba? Yung margin of error, the confidence or the upper and the lower confidence limit. Pero, inahanap natin is sample size na may symbol na small letter n. So, sa kanilang tatlo, yung margin of error, yung may symbol na letter n. So, yun yung gagamitin natin na formula by manipulating the formula. So, ito yung formula natin ng margin of error. So, anong una natin gagawin? So, multiply muna natin yung z sa sigma all over square root of n para maging fraction siya or isang fraction lang siya. So, magiging E is equal to Z sigma all over square root of n. So, multiply numerator by numerator and denominator by denominator. So, the denominator of Z is 1, di ba? Kaya 1 times square root of n lang siya. Kaya square root of n sa denominator natin. And then, we cross multiply or we multiply both equation or both side of the equation by square root of n para matanggal yung square root of n natin sa denominator. So, we have E square root of n is equal to Z sigma. So, cancel na yung square root of n dito kasi multiply natin both by square root of n. Natira is Z sigma. So, dito naman, multiply by square root of n, that is E square root of n. Ngayon, gusto natin makuha is sample size lang, right? So, kailangan matira yung small letter n dito, which is the sample size. Kailangan nating alisin yung letter E, capital letter E, which is the margin of error, sa left side ng equation. Paano natin maalis yon? We divide both side of the equation by letter E. So, yung matitira na lang is square root of n is equal to Z sigma all over E. Pero, kinukuha lang natin is letter n. Kailangan natin tanggalin yung square root niya. So, paano natin tatanggalin? I-square natin both sides. So, square root of n squared. So, cancel yung square root and cancel yung square. We have n and z sigma all over e squared is z sigma all over e squared. So, dun natin nakuha yung formula. Ngayon, nakuha na natin yung formula for the sample size. Pwede na kayong, or kung pinapahanap man ito sa activity natin, pwedeng mag-jump na agad kayo dito. No need to do this. So, all we have to do pala dito in order to determine the sample size is to substitute the values. So, we have 1.65, which is the confidence level for 90% is 1.65, multiplied by the standard deviation of 0.5 all over the margin of error, which is 0.06 squared. So, i-simplify muna natin yung nasa loob. So, 1.65 times 0.5, we have 0.825 all over 0.06. So, i-simplify pa natin yung sa loob. I-divide muna natin. So, 0.825 divided by 0.06 is 13.75. And 13.75 squared is equal to 189.06. Therefore, our sample size is approximately 190 children. Thus, the barangay captain needs to choose 190 children as sample. So, ganun lang. Any question? So, let us now go to T distribution. So, kung dati may Z distribution tayo, which is the Z table, ngayon T distribution naman, meaning may T table naman tayo. So, what is T distribution? So, T distribution is also known as the student's T distribution. So, it is a probability distribution that is used to estimate parameters when the sample size is small and or when the population variance or standard deviation is unknown. So, there are properties of T distribution. First one is the bell-shaped and symmetric about the mean, which is 0. So, same lang nung standard normal curve natin, na bell-shaped din and symmetric din. Second is the standard deviation is a bit larger than 1. So, slightly thicker tails than standard normal distribution na normally nakukuha natin below 1. So, gets narrower and more closely resembles standard normal distribution as DF increases. So, nearly identical when DF is greater than 30. So, the meaning of DF here is the degree of freedom. So, precise shapes depends on degrees of freedom. Ayun nga, that is DF. So, the degrees of freedom denoted by DF refers to the number of scores in a distribution that are free to vary without changing the mean of the distribution. So, the formula for the degree of freedom is n minus 1, wherein n is the sample size. So, for example, if the mean 5 values is 10, so the mean of 5 values is 10, their sum is 50, then 4 of the 5 values are free to vary. But once the 4 values are selected, the fifth value must be a specific number to get the sum of 50. Thus, if n is equal to 5, degree of freedom is n minus 1, which is 4. Meaning, degree of freedom, sabi dito, may 5 values tayo or may 5 numbers tayo. So, yung mean daw ng 5 numbers natin is 10. Tapos, yung sum nila is 50. Kapag pinag-add-add yon, dapat yung sum nila is 50. So, meaning, 4 out of, kasi yung degree of freedom natin, nakuha natin is 4, right? Meaning, kung degree of freedom is 4, yung 4 na values na yon, pwedeng iba-iba sila ng number, bahala sila kung anong number yung gusto nila, pero yung isang value na yon, yung pang fifth value, kailangan specific number siya para makakuha tayo ng sum na 50. Kailangan tumugma siya sa description na sum niya is 50 And yung min nila is 10. Kapag in-add mo sila, tapos divide by 5, kasi 5 yung values, kailangan 10 yung min natin. So, yung apat na yon, pwedeng kahit anong value sila, basta yung pang fifth na value is specific number siya na tutugma sa description. So, that is degree of freedom. Apat, kahit anong number nila, may degree of freedom sila. So, let us now go to reading the t-table. So, the t-table will help you in finding the correct confidence coefficient to be used in computing the confidence interval. So, unlike z-table, the values at the middle of the t-table are not areas of probability. So, ano sila? They are the t-scores or confidence coefficients. So, sa t-table, tawag dyan is t-scores or confidence coefficients. So, take note lang na the two rows for one tail and two tail, ito, one tail and two tails, at the top of the table will be used on your lesson in hypothesis testing in fourth quarter. So, sa fourth quarter pa natin ito gagamitin. So, just ignore the one tail and two tails. So, para maintindihan pa natin lalo kung paano gamitin itong t-table, yan no, meron siyang degree of freedom, DF, meron siyang Z dito, or the Z-score, and we have the confidence interval, or level, I mean, meron din dito. So, proceed na tayo sa examples. So, let us now do example number 1 in reading the t-table. So, using the t-table, ito yung t-table natin, determine the confidence coefficient to be used given the following quantities. So, we have number 1, the sample size of 26 and the confidence level of 90%. So, paano natin i-determine yung confidence coefficient or yung t-score natin using t-table? First one is to compute the degree of freedom. Sabi ko nga kanina, yung formula sa degree of freedom is n minus 1. So, n is 26, right? So, 26 minus 1 is 25. So, ilocate natin yung 25 na yun sa left side ng table. So, ito yung 25 natin. Ayan, 25. Shinade ko siya ng yellow. And then, locate the confidence level of 90% at the bottom of the t-table. So, gawin muna siguro natin is i-shade natin lahat ng numbers sa 25. Para mag-i-intersect na lang tayo. Ay. Wait lang, burahin natin. Ulitin natin yung pagkaka-shade. So, 25 tayo, right? Ayan. So, sabi dito, locate the confidence level of 90% at the bottom of the t-table. So, ito yung confidence level natin, and this is 90%. So, tignan natin kung alin yung magi-intersect doon sa 90%. So, 90, ito yung mga values na 90. So, ayan. Get the value of the intersection of 2 and 3, steps 2 and 3. So, saan sila nag-intersect? Sa 1.708. Therefore, our t-score is 1.708. So, let's go to example number 2. So, using the t-table, determine the coefficient or confidence coefficient to be used given the following quantities. So, n is 1001. Confidence level is 95%. First is we get the degree of freedom, right? By subtracting the sample size sa 1. So, 1001 minus 1 is equal to 1,000. So, i-shade natin yung 1,000 sa left part ng table. Ayun yung 1,000. And then, i-shade natin yung mga values sa 1,000. Tapos, sabi dito, the confidence level is 95%. So, tignan natin yung confidence level na 95%, tapos, ano yung mga values na nag-intersect doon. So, combine lang yung, tignan lang natin kung ano yung value na nag-intersect sa step 2 tsaka sa step 3. Yun yung 1.962. Therefore, our t-score is 1.962. So, when the sample size is very large, the value of t approaches the z-score for 95% confidence, which is 1.96. So, any questions? Follow lang natin yung steps natin. First step is compute for the degree of freedom by getting the or applying the formula n minus 1. After getting the degree of freedom, locate na natin yung nakuha natin degree of freedom sa left portion ng t-table natin. Tapos, step 3 is to identify the confidence level, tapos i-intersect natin siya doon sa step 2. And last step, kunin natin yung value kung saan sila nag-i-intersect, yung step 2 and step 3. In this case, it is 1.962. Therefore, our t-score is 1.962. So, may tanong pa ba tayo about sa t-distribution? May tanong pa, pwede kayong mag-PM or pwede kayong mag-comment down below sa comment section. So, if wala nang tanong, proceed tayo sa evaluation part ng week 7 sa page 92. So, you turn your SciPacs on page 92. Nakita nyo doon is written work. So, you determine the confidence coefficient or the t-score natin. So, t-score, sabihin ng t-score is confidence coefficient. So, confidence coefficient. So, para lang yan. To be used, given the following quantities, using the t-table, of course. So, i-ready nyo yung t-table nyo, then, follow nyo lang yung steps na binigay ko para ma-determine yung t-score natin. So, 1 to 10 yan. For sure, ma-perfect nyo na. So, good luck. So, kung kanina, kinompute natin yung confidence interval with known sigma, ngayon naman, kukompute naman natin yung confidence interval with unknown or with unknown sigma. So, tandaan lang natin yung formula. Halos wala naman silang pinagbago para sa margin of error natin. Kung kanina, with known sigma tayo, yung ginamit natin is z-score and sigma. So, or standard deviation of population. Ngayon naman, yung gagamitin natin sa margin of error, imbes na z-score, it's t-score naman. And imbes na sigma siya or the population standard deviation, gagamitan naman natin siya ng sample standard deviation. All over square root of n, which is the sample size. So, the lower confidence limit naman, same lang yung formula, which is x bar minus the margin of error, the upper confidence limit, that's x bar plus the margin of error. So, the confidence level is LCL to UCL lang siya. So, determine mo yung lower confidence limit and upper confidence limit para mahanap mo yung confidence interval. So, yung T natin, here is the confidence coefficient or the t-score. So, kung kanina is given yung percent, tapos madali nating ma-identify yung, or may mga common percent sa z-score natin. Sa t-score naman, it depends on the sample size and confidence level. So, let's have example number 1 in determining the confidence interval with unknown sigma. So, first, let's read the given. So, a teacher wants to estimate the average score of her students in the periodical test. So, she randomly selected 6 students and their average score is 80. And the sample standard deviation is 5.59. So compute the interval estimate for the mean score of the students using 90% confidence interval. So first is we determine the given. So the given are sample mean, which is 80. So the average score, ayun yung sample mean natin, 80. And the sample size is 6 kasi 6 students lang yung kanyang pinili. Then, our sample standards deviation is 5.59. So the confidence level is 90%. So we're going to find the confidence interval. So before we find the confidence interval, let us first find the degree of freedom na gagamitin natin sa pagkuha ng t-score natin. Kasi sa margin of error, sa formula natin, may letter t tayo dito. Meaning, need natin yung t-score. Kung given siya dito, no need to get the degree of freedom. Pero, since wala yung t-score natin, we have to find first the t-score by applying yung natutunan natin kanina sa pagkuha ng t-score using the 4 steps. And for in computing, sa pag-compute ng degree of freedom. So, let's start. So, first, prepare the t-table. So, degree of freedom is n minus 1, right? And our n, yung sinelect ng teacher is 6 lang. So, we have 6 minus 1, and that is 5. So, our degree of freedom is 5. So, let us shade 5. So, dito siya sa upper portion. Ayun, na-shade na natin. Then, shade natin yung mga numbers sa 5 para malaman natin yung mamaya, madali na lang natin malaman yung t-score pamagitan ng pag-intersect ng confidence level. So, next is the confidence level pala natin. That is 90%, diba? 90% yung sinabi kanina. So, ito yung 90%. I-shade natin siya pataas. Ayan. So, saan siya nag-intersect? Therefore, nag-intersect siya sa 2.015. 2.015. So, our t-score, therefore, is 2.015 for 90% confidence. So, meron na tayong t-score. May sample mean naman tayo. So, burahin na natin to pala. Since nakuha na natin yung t-score natin. Ayan. So, margin of error na tayo. Compute na natin yung margin of error. So, we have the formula t multiplied by the sample standard deviation all over square root of the sample mean. So, substitute lang tayo. We have 2.015 multiplied by 5.59, which is the sample standard deviation, all over square root of 6, which is the sample size. So, kapag kinompute nyo yan, kapag sinimplify nyo, nilagay nyo sa calculator, makukuha natin is 4.60. That is our margin of error. So, let us compute for the lower confidence limit. So, we have mean minus E, or the sample mean. So, we have 80 minus the margin of error, which is 4.60. That is 75.40. How about the upper confidence limit? So, 80 plus 4.60, we have 84.60. Therefore, our confidence interval is 75.40 to 84.60. Conclusion, thus, the average score of the students in the periodical test is between 75.40 and 84.60. So, do you have any questions before we proceed to the evaluation part? So, kung may tanong pa, feel free to PM me, personal message, or can comment down below on the comment section. If wala na, let's now proceed to the evaluation part. So, this is the evaluation part of week 7. On page 92, you turn your SciPacs on page 92. So, may rubrics tayo dito. We have given 2 points, solution is 4 points, and answer is 4 points. So, you need to show your complete solution. So, answer the following involving confidence interval and determining sample size. Show your complete solution to each problem. So, may mga hint naman sila. Sinasabi naman na kung anong gagamitin, yung Z distribution ba or T distribution. Nakasulat din naman sa sigma kung unknown siya or known. So, dito naman sa number 2, you find the sample size. So, binigyan naman na yung formula kanina kung yung gagamitin is known. Known siya, no? Known sigma. So, good luck. So, that's it. Congratulations on finishing week 7 or the quarter 3. I hope na may natutunan and tapos na kayo sa pagsasagot ng SciPacs. So, congrats! Thank you!